So we start the third part, that is formal sector credit in India. So as I already told you in the previous class that what is formal sector and what is informal sector, right? So here it says we have seen in the above example that people obtain loan from the various sources. Like you saw that people take loan from cooperative society, people take loan from banks, people take loan from the money lenders, relatives, and all these things. The various types of loan can be conveniently grouped as formal sector loan and informal sector of loan. So these are the two sectors of loan where we get obtain loan, that is formal and informal sectors. Among the former are the loans from banks and cooperatives. So when you take loan from the banks and cooperative, that is called the formal sector of loan. And the informal lender include money lender, traders, employer, relative, and friends. So you have seen already in the case study that some farmers take loan from the trader who give them an advance, right? Some farmer take loan from the money lender or the relative and all these things. In graph 1 you can see the various sources of credit to rural household in India. Is more credit coming from the formal sector or the informal sector? So if you look at the diagram here, it says that 33%, that means one third loan comes from the money lender because it is easy and quick, right? Commercial bank 25%, cooperative sector 25%, right? And other sources are also there, the landlords and blah blah. Okay, all these things are there. Other agriculture institutional agencies are there, that is 5%. So in this case you have to see that money lender still leads, right? Okay, so in this case, and you can understand that how high the rate of interest is, then we can understand that what kind of exploitation the borrower face through the money lender and all those things. So what the need of the R is to increase the role of the formal sector in agriculture area, okay, or agriculture sector. So it says the Reserve Bank of India supervises the functioning of the formal sector sources of loan, because Reserve Bank of India is the central bank of India. It is the bank of the banks. For instance, we have seen that the bank maintain a minimum cash balance out of the deposit they receive. The RBI monitors the bank in actually maintaining cash balance. So RBI of course regulates the banking system in the country. The RBI sees that the banks give loan not just to profit making businesses and traders, but also to small cultivators, small scale industries, to small borrower, etc. So if a question comes, the role of Central Bank of India, or let's say RBI, you will write all these things. Okay, so what it does, that okay, so RBI monitors the bank in actually maintaining the cash balance. RBI also looks into the matter that bank gives loan not only to the big or profit making businesses, it gives loan to the other sectors also, or you can say other borrowers also. Now even you see that the banks have the target to give educational loan, because you see that in rural areas there are meritorious students, right? They compete in the medical exam or engineering exam, but what happens that because of the rising competitions or because of the autonomous institutions, they are not able to pay the fee. Okay, those college fee, the engineering fee or the medical fee. So in that case what happens, the banks also have the target that you have to give this much percentage of loan to for education. That means any needy, so they have the target, that means they have to find out people who actually want loan, right? They have the target to that to give loan to the small scale industries, or you can say those who want to start, let's say, poultry farming or dairy farming, all these things.
So they have to give loans?
Yeah, they have to give. Yes, they have to give, provided these people maintain certain criteria, right? That means they have the land, they have a business plan, right? They have a little bit collateral also. Like I just gave an example. Let's suppose you want to take educational loan. So what do you need to do is that you have to go to the bank. You have to show that yes, I have qualified. This is my result sheet. They can verify through the internet, right? And they, if you are capable enough, if they confirm that yes, you have secured a seat in engineering or medical college, they will provide you loan, right? And that is also for very easy term. That means I tell you, let's say 4 years. If the course is for 4 years, they will not ask you for that one, the loan, right? That means you do not have to pay until you complete your course, right? After that also, they will ask you to choose the loan plan. That means what is the monthly installment you are going to pay back to the bank. Let's just consider I qualified and I completed my engineering degree, right? And let's say by any chance I did not get a job for, let's say, 1 or 2 years. How will I pay? right? If I got a job, what might my be salary? Just consider that by bad luck you can say that I landed somewhere, let's say in 25,000 per month job. Just consider a case, right? In that case, I cannot pay if they have already decided, okay, I will pay you 20,000 per month or 15,000 per month. Then how will I survive? So after getting a job, you have to inform the bank that I have got a job. This is my salary, and I can pay you, let's say 5,000 or 6,000 per month. Okay, until I change a job and I get a better one. So why does the government do all these things? So that nobody should be left behind. Okay, having let's say quality, or you can say having merit, and you are not able to have, let's say, finance, this does not mean that you cannot complete your medical or engineering education, right? So government wants to give chance to everybody, right? Or in this course, RBI also ropes in, and RBI directs the bank, all the commercial bank, that you have to give loan to these sectors also, or you can say small scale industries, medium scale industries, educational loan, all these things. Okay, because see, loan is very important for the economy. Just consider, I want to buy a car, but I don't have enough cash. In that case, what will happen? I will not buy a car, and I'm not the only one. There are millions of people who want to buy a car, but they cannot because they do not have enough cash. So in that case, if the banks do not provide loan, just consider what will happen to automobile sector. They will be able to sell very less, very few cars, right? Similar case comes in for house loans. Lot many apartments are there, right? But people do not have, let's say, a huge cash, let's say 30 lakh for 50 lakh, or a crore or something, right? In that case, the construction industry will collapse. So there the banks provide loan, right? So they also have the target that you have to give, because this is how the economy runs. Okay, and most of the economy run on loan, right? People take loan, industries take loan, because nobody has enough cash, number one, and nobody would like to put everything in the business, and suppose it fails, then what will happen? All right, so in that case, all big companies, big countries, they have millions or billions of dollars of loan they have. Okay, they have to pay. So where does the loan come from? These loan come from the banks. Okay, and if you are, let's say, flourishing business, banks will line up to give you loan. But what about the small scale industries? Are they not the businesses? They are also the businesses, right? They also need to flourish. And not all companies, or the big companies or big factories, make everything. Just consider, you are in automobile sector. Just consider one case, right? You manufacture car. Do you manufacture everything? Do you manufacture glasses? Do you manufacture tires? Do you manufacture seats? Do you manufacture rubber mats and other things, or accessories? No, these things are manufactured by the small scale industries. Okay, brake pads and the rubber mats and other things, they are very small, right? So if they are not there in the market, these big companies will also not work, won't be able to survive, right? So these are called ancillary units. Okay, so they also need loan from the banks. Okay, so banks have to give loan to everybody, and RBI makes sure that everybody gets loan. Okay, provided you have your business plan, your you can say setup, and all these things. There is no organization which supervises the credit activity of lenders in the informal sector, but this does not happen in informal sector. Okay, suddenly something happens in a village, right? A family goes to the money lender, immediately I need 10,000 rupees. Why? Because my wife is, let's say, sick, I have to take her to the hospital, right? Okay, in that case, what comes handy? Of course, the money lender. Naturally, they charge a lot, but that is the terms and conditions you have to accept, because otherwise you won't be able to get the treatment, right? Or many other things. So in informal sector, there is no regulations. They can lend at whatever interest rate they they choose. There is no one to stop them from using unfair means to get their money back. So if you are not able to pay the money, then they can confiscate your land, they will capture your land, or you can say whatever wealth or property you have, because there is no government interference in that. All right, you have agreed to the terms and condition. But if you fail to pay to the bank also have some other means to collect the loan. That means they will not come and they will ask that, okay, I will from tomorrow get out from the house, and this is not the way, right? Okay, and bank also have to have a provision that, let's say, whatever loan they give, 20% or 15% will definitely not come back, right? So in that case, they are they are ready to suffer the losses. Okay, and they have the provision like that only. So this is how it works. Compared to the formal lenders, most of the informal lenders charge a much higher rate of loan. Thus, the cost of the borrower of informal loan is much higher. So, suppose you have to write about the informal sector, this paragraph you can write down. Okay, and let's say the formal sector advantages and disadvantage of formal sector or informal sector. These are the things. Higher cost of borrowing means a large part of the earning of the borrower is used to repay the loan. Hence, borrower has less income left for themselves. In certain cases, the high rate interest rate for borrowing can mean that amount to be repaid is greater than the income of the borrower. Right? Just consider 5% per month. That means 60% annual. So if it is 60% annual, so if I just earn $100, $60 goes for interest only. Interest only. Forget about the principal amount or the principal. Forget about that. So still that principal is there, right? I'm paying 60% of my income for interest. So just consider that that means once you are in a debt trap, you will never come out. That happens. This would lead to increased debt. This will lead to increased debt, and further it says that as we saw for okay, anyway, also people who might wish to start an enterprise by borrowing may not do so because of the high cost of borrowing. So naturally, if you want to start any small business, let's say dairy farming or poultry farming or anything, you won't be able to do because of high rate of interest. Your income today, you start a business, tomorrow you will start getting profit, no way, right? You have to, it will take time. So if it takes time, let's say a year or two, by the time, just consider that how much interest are you going to pay, right? In that case, you will never survive because the cost of borrowing is too much. So for these reasons, banks and cooperative societies need to lend more. This will lead, this will okay, where was that? Yeah, okay. So for these reasons, banks and cooperative society need to lend more. This would lead to higher incomes, and many people could then borrow cheaply for a variety of needs. They could grow crops, do business, set up small scale industries. They could set up new industries or trade in goods. Okay, so these things can, why? Because see, annual how much? 8% to 10%, maximum 11%. So if you compare with 60%, 10% is nothing, right? So in that case, you already know that okay, I have borrowed money at a cheaper rate of interest, so it is, you are also comfortable, right? And you can do the business, you can wait for the right time and other thing. But here what happens in an informal sector, if you are borrowing at a very high rate of interest, naturally you won't be able to survive. Okay, and entire business will collapse because the cost of production is going to be very high. So here it says, you see the bold line, cheap and affordable credit is crucial. Cheap and affordable credit is crucial for the country's development, right? So just this question comes, that says cheap and affordable credit is crucial for the country's development. Elucidate or explain or comment on this. So you will write how, why it is important. Just I told you that this is how the wheel of the economy runs, because if you take cheap loan, you will be able to borrow more money, you will invest more money in the market, right? You can take risk, you can get good returns, right? And eventually you will pay to the banks on all those things. Okay, so those things are important here, and this is how, because it is not about your business. When you start a business, you give employment to many people, right? You supply goods. When you supply goods, there is a competition in the market. When there is a competition in the market, what happens? The things are sold at a cheaper rate because there are so many sellers in the market, right? It's not a monopoly or a biopoly. Understand the meaning of biopoly or monopoly? Monopoly means one player in the market, right? A biopoly means two player in the market, right? So since it's a free market, so anyone can come and exit the market. So in that case, what happens? Everybody will try to push the things or their products to the customers. So naturally, they have to sell at a cheaper rate. You see the competition in the airlines. You see the competition in electronic market. If you go to buy a laptop or a phone, variety of products are there, variety of companies are there, right? And they all are selling at a very, you can say, low margin. Okay, so this is how. So if business expands, more employment will be generated. More employment will be generated, so people will be well off, or you can say they will have income. If they have income, they will buy goods from the market. This is how the producer will produce more because there are more buyers in the market. If just consider that in a country, majority of the people, or you can say 30% or 40% people are unemployed, naturally in that case, these people don't have money, so they will not buy things from the market. So in that case, market will the producer will not sell. So how will they survive? right? Because they need good market, or they need wealthy market, so that people can buy. So all these things, so that is why you can say that you can say borrowing is important for economy, or for the growth of the country, or the development of the country. Here it says formal and informal credit, who gets what. So we are going to have a comparison here. So graph 2 shows the importance of formal and informal sources of credit for people in urban areas. The people are divided into four groups, from poor to rich, as shown in the figure. You can see that 85% of the loans taken by poor household in the urban areas are from informal sources. Okay, so it is not that uh, loans informal loans are available only in villages. Informal loans are available in cities also, right? There are many people who have cash, surplus cash. They lend to the needy, and they charge the same rate, 4%, 5% they also charge. All right, so it is not that this is you can say a salient
So then in cities, why do people, so in rural areas there are less formal
and
sectors, so they borrow from
yeah,
informal.
understand.
But in cities there are formal, but why do they borrow from
Yeah,
informal?
it's not that in rural areas we do not have banks. Banks have been you can say the RBI has made it mandatory for all the banks to have the branches in the rural areas also. Okay, so all the banks are very much available in rural areas, but the problem is that I told you, the collateral thing, the paperwork, then the time consumption, all these things matter a lot. The same thing happens in the urban area also. Suppose there is a laborer, a daily wages laborer. He works and he earns money every day. Suppose something happens and he needs money, will the bank provide loan? No. Suppose there is a family, one person works in the construction company, or let's say in the building, right? And he gets every day, let's say 300 or 400 rupees, right? And suddenly, if somebody falls ill or something happens and he needs medical emergency or something, suppose takes place, and he needs money, do you think the bank will be available to give them money? No. So they will definitely borrow money from the, let's say, relative or friend. Sometimes what happened, we give the money without any interest or something, or no, take it, so whenever you have money you can give me back. But not always, not always, right? So in that case they also need people who can give them loan on you can say on credit, or on interest. So this happens in the urban areas also. Okay, suppose just consider that I am a vendor and I need some money because of certain things. Do you think the bank will provide me a loan to a vendor, or the one who is pulling cart or something, or sells vegetable on the thela or something? No, not possible. So naturally these people get loan from the money lender only. So this feature is very much available in rural area as well as in the urban area. Alright, so here you can say in the graph, you can say only 10% of their loans are from the informal sources, while 90% are from the formal sources. A similar pattern is also found in the rural areas. A rich household are availing cheap credit from the formal lenders, whereas the poor household have to pay a large amount of for borrowing, because rich people have more collateral. They can easily approach the bank. Rich people have surplus money also, so they can work with that money, and meanwhile they can apply for loan also. But this is not the case with the poor people. They have, in case they need money, right, they have to go to the money lender only. So what does all this suggest? First, the formal sector still meets only about half of the total credit need for the rural people. The remaining credit needs are met from the informal sources. So if you look at the graph here, that poor household, of course, 85% and 15% ratio. So this is how. All right. So all these things are done here. Okay. So you can see the blue part is percentage of loan from the informal sector. So in poor household, you can see that 85% is this one. A purple part is loan from the formal sector. So even in poor household, only 15% people have the access to the formal sector. Otherwise, mostly they borrow from the informal sector. And the same thing is everywhere. Okay. And you can say rich household, the last graph, only 10% people go to the informal sector, otherwise mostly they get from the formal sector. So this is how you can say exactly it turns opposite. So that is the case here. All right, so suppose this graph is given, or any graph is given to you, you have to learn why it happens, right? Not only you have to explain the graph, you have to explain the reason also, why it happens, because of the electricity, then because of not having collateral, right, and not having surplus. All these things are there. Okay. All right. Next, it says most loans from the informal lenders carry a high interest rate and do little to increase the income of the borrowers. So, because most of the money goes for interest rates, so you have nothing. Thus, it is necessary that banks and cooperative increase their lending, particularly in the rural areas, so that the dependence on informal sector of the credit reduces. Right? But this does not happen because banks also have their own targets, and they need to earn profits, right? Because they have huge network, thousands and thousands of branches are there, millions of people are working in those branches, right? So they have to pay the salary and many other things, right? And any bank, whatever bank is there in the market, naturally they won't be able to survive if they don't earn profits, right? So naturally, if they want to lend money, they will make sure that they are getting the money back in a stipulated time according to the terms of credit, right? Secondly, while formal sector's loan needs to expand, it is also necessary that everyone receives these loans. At present, it is the richer household who receive formal credit, whereas the poor have to depend on the informal sources. It is important that the formal credit is distributed more equally so that the poor can benefit from the cheaper loan. Okay, so these are important here. But what is the mechanism? How can a landless laborer get a loan? If he gets a loan, what is the guarantee that he will pay the loan? Right? That means there is a risk. So if there is a risk, is the bank ready to take the risk? If the bank is let's say forced to give them the loans, naturally they won't be able to survive, so they will not be willing to supply loan in the market, right, or supply money in the market. So you have to have a balanced approach, right? That you have to make sure that you do regular investigations or regular inspection of the person who has taken the loan. Why have you taken the loan? Because I want to start a poultry farming, right? Where is the land? Okay, what is the construction, whether you are doing in proper way or not. If you need technical assistance, or let's say any training or something, bank will arrange training for you so that you can also prosper, you can also grow, and they should get their money back. Okay, those things are there. All right, this is very important. The next topic, self-help group for the poor. Okay, this is very popular in India, and almost this is a government scheme, right? And everybody in every state we have self-help groups, and it generates a lot of employment also. Of course, it's a small you can say portion of the economy, or you can say for income, but of course it matters a lot. So it says in the previous section we have seen that the poor households are still dependent on informal source of credit. Why is it so? Banks are not present everywhere in rural India. Even when they are present, getting a loan from a bank is much more difficult than taking a loan from the informal sources. Of course, I told you, paperwork and many other things, they have lots of rules and regulations, and no employee, even you are the boss of your branch, right, would not like to put your neck in the noose if you do not know how to come out of it, right? So if they give loan, and that person is not able to recover the loan, he will be held, right? He will be held responsible. He has to be accountable for all these things. So why will I, as suppose I am a bank officer, why will I unnecessarily take the risk? So naturally he will be very hesitant to give loan to the person who where recovery is almost difficult. So as we saw, for mega bank loan require proper documents and collateral. Absence of collateral is one of the major reasons which prevent the poor from getting bank loans. Understand this. Okay, informal lenders such as money lender or the other, on the other hand, know the borrower personally because they live in the same area, they live in the same village, right? Where will you go? You have your house, you may be having some cattle also, right? You have a small piece of land also. So in case you don't pay, I will take that. Okay, all right. And hence they are are often willing to give a loan without collateral. The borrowers can, if necessary, approach the money lender even without repaying the previous loan. So even if you have not repaid, they can give you the fresh loan also, because they know that you will never go anywhere, right? We will definitely collect loan from back from you, so there is no problem. However, the money lender charge very high rate of interest, keep no record of the transaction, and harass the poor borrowers. Just consider a landlord laborers. Does he know the percentage and the rate of interest and all these things what you studied in grade 8 maths? No, he doesn't know simple interest, he doesn't know compound interest, all these things. So I as a money lender will say that okay, you have to pay this much, this in 1 year you have to pay this much. Suppose I added another 100 200 rupees. Is he going to calculate whether I'm correct or not? No. So lot many ways are there to exploit these poor people. In recent years, people have tried out some newer ways of providing loans to the poor. The idea is to organize rural poor, in particularly women, into small self-help groups, that is called SHGs, and pool their savings. So whatever savings you have, let's say if I earn every day, let's say I earn 300 rupees. Okay, so 20 rupees, 30 rupees monthly, or let's say 100 or 200 rupees monthly. If I pool or collect money from, let's say 50 households, so I have now good amount of money from that group. That means we can make a group, right? And we have this much amount, let's say we have 10,000 rupees. So if somebody needs for loan 500 rupees or 1000 rupees, we can give them, right, at a very minimal rate of interest, right? A typical SHG has 50 to 20 members. Remember this. If this questions comes for SHG, these are the criteria. Okay, these are the characteristic of SHG. So a typical SHG has 50 to 20 members, usually belonging to one neighborhood, who met and save regularly. Saving per members varies from 25 rupees to 100 rupees or more, depending on the ability of the poor, the people to save. So from 25 rupees to 100 rupees you can pay monthly. Members can take small loans from the group itself to meet their needs. The group charges interest on these loans, but it is still less than what the money lender charges. Alright, so this is the difference. After a year or two, if the group is regular in savings, and if your books are, that means the account books, is clean, okay, and it is regular, then you can apply for bigger loan from the bank also. Because now bank trusts that, okay, you are an established SHG, right? We can depend on you, we can count on you, and we can give you loan. So after a year or two, if the group is regular in saving, it becomes eligible for availing loan from the bank. So banks have this target also, that if SHGs are there, you have to find out, or you have to help them to organize SHGs. So okay, so banks have not only the commercial activity, they have the social engineering also. They have the social, you can say, they have to take part in the social development of the area where they are located. Okay, so loan is all right. It becomes eligible for availing loan from the bank. Loan is sanctioned in the name of the group and is meant to create self-employment opportunities for the members. For instance, a small loan are provided to the members for releasing mortgage land, or for meeting working capital needs, let's say buying seeds, then fertilizers, raw materials, all these things. Okay, for household materials, for acquiring asset like sewing machine, handloom, cattle, etc. All these things, for these things, loan is provided to them. Okay, so this is at the you can say very small level, or you can say the local level is calculated. All right, further it says, just a minute. Most of the important decisions regarding the savings and the loan activities are taken by the group members. The group decides as regards the loan to be granted, the purpose, amount to interest to be charged, repayment schedule, and all these things. So what happens, that it is just like a democratic system. Every member has may have its own say, right? Everybody has the right to speak, and you can suggest something, right? Some brighter ideas may come from anyone, right? Okay, and they all decide that what should be the rate of interest, and how much, for what purpose we can give the loan, for what purpose we cannot give the loan, all these things. Also, it is the group which is responsible for the repayment of the loan. Okay, so you have to make sure that if somebody takes, it is not his responsibility only to pay the loan. It is your responsibility also to help him to pay the loan back. Okay, so any case of non-repayment of loan by any one member is followed up seriously by other member in the group. Because of this feature, banks are willing to lend to the poor woman when organized in SHGs, even though they have no collateral as such. So you can see bank can provide them loan 100,000, 200,000 can easily be given without any collateral, because this is an organization, this is a group, right? Okay, and the loan has been given to a group, not an individual. So that's a different matter. Thus, the SHG help borrowers overcome the problem of the lack of collateral. Number one, they can get timely loans for a variety of purposes and at the reasonable interest rate. Moreover, SHGs are the building blocks of the organization of the rural people. So this is how you can say SHGs help very poor farmers, or the you can say small entrepreneurs also, so that they can develop. Suppose some ladies want to have a traditional costume, they want to make stitch traditional costume and sell in the market, right? So for that they need clothes, they need sewing machine and all these things, right? Who will provide? Where will the money come from for the machine, right? So they can pull in money, right? They can pull in money, they can buy some machines, they can stitch the cloth and they can sell in the market, right? And in that case, if it goes regularly, they can show it to the bank people also, that this is how, see, we have 10 machines, we have this much of clothes everywhere, every day or every month we are producing and we are selling in the market, we these are our buyers and all these things. So when bank people are convinced, they will provide you loan. Not only does this help the woman to become financially self-reliant, the regular meeting of the groups provide a platform to discuss and act on a variety of social issues such as health, nutrition, domestic violence, and etc. So this is a group where everybody meets and they can solve, they can share their problems and the ideas, right? And they can come up with a solution also. So this is not about only the economic point of view. You can see this is actually basically for the social upliftment, right? And society cannot be uplifted until and unless people have money, right? And people have employment, right? So they try to generate employment. You see the Amul, you know about Amul butter and all. That is the largest cooperative.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that is the largest cooperative I think in the world. Okay, where several thousand villages are involved in that. Okay, and those who have cattle and that means they supply milk, right? That milk goes to the Amul factory, and you can see the variety of products come up, and that is not only sold in the domestic market, it goes for the international market also. Even Amul butter and other things you can find here also, in Japan also, right? Okay, in Indian stores. So some, that means it is exported. Okay, all these. All right, so that was for SSG. You can see the ladies sitting together and discussing the things, that what next we can do if the festival season is coming, what we can do, what is the special or specialty of our area, what let's say the basket making or the bamboo, you can say the, or the handicrafts or anything, they can discuss and they can produce, right? That is the thing. Now it says Grameen Bank of Bangladesh. This is also one of the case studies, and the person who started this, he got Nobel Prize. You can see here it written in the box. Professor Muhammad Yunus, the founder of Grameen Bank and recipient of 2006 Nobel Prize for Peace. So he came with the idea and he started bank in Bangladesh, and that became very successful bank, right? Successful not in the sense that it earns millions of dollars as profit. Of course, it changed the life of millions of women, or you can say millions of families in Bangladesh, right? So it says Grameen Bank of Bangladesh, one of the biggest success stories in reaching the poor to meet their credit needs at reasonable rates. Started in 1970s as a small project, Grameen Bank in 2018 has over 9 million members in about 81,600 villages spread across Bangladesh. Almost all of the borrowers are women and belong to the poorest section of the society. So why women? Why not men? Any idea?
Women require more support
Women require more
in
support.
rural areas.
Okay, all right. What else? Why? What are their men doing? Naturally, they are working in the farms.
Working.
Yeah, they are working in the farms. They migrate to the cities. They work over there. Not necessarily every time they get a job or something. So eventually back at home, how to survive and how to support the family for a better living, right? So women mostly left behind. So in that case, women are more engaged in this one, and socially also we'll say, and that means women are more sincere, right? Okay, so in that case, mostly you will see that women are more, in SHGs or self-help group. These borrowers have proved that not only are poor women reliable borrowers, see this comes reliable borrowers, but they can start and run a variety of small income generating activities successfully. Okay, that is why mostly the women are in self help group. Okay, with this chapter is over, I think. Yeah, okay, with this the chapter
Yes,
is
sir.
over, and now we are going to start geography. What chapter in geography?
Lifelines of national economy.